Hey guys, Shaun here with a brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video, and I'm starting this video in the hospital. I actually ended up getting, a couple hours ago, my gallbladder removed. You know me, I've always talked about having gallstones and all the gallstone pains and all that stuff, and now I finally, went and did it because I had a bad attack from the whole thing, and I've had to really watch the fat and everything lately, and then like something happened, had a really bad thing, and there, I could have scheduled it for later, but it was like I was in the hospital, so it was like, you know what, I'm here, I might as well do this, get it over with instead of, waiting, a couple weeks for another appointment to actually, schedule it, and then like, stressing about doing it, because, I've been terrified about, having the surgery, getting put under, anesthesia and all that kind of stuff. But luckily enough, I came through, nothing bad's happened. But now I'm in here in this room, and this isn't going to be like a monumental video. I may go to one or two, stores when I get out of here. I don't even know if this is going to get posted Tuesday or Wednesday or exactly for sure. And I'm going to have some reviews at the end of this video. It's probably going to be me sitting down though. But there's a couple, actually quite a few things to review, so I'm going to have some of those reviews as well. But like I said, I don't know really when this is going to get posted, but I wanted to film a little bit of stuff in this room, so, and just some of the stuff while I'm here, so I'll film just a few minutes of stuff, at the hospital, just to get this, and, just to document the whole thing, and, to show that I did this. But this is the first time I've ever actually had a surgery. I've never had, like, a real surgery like this in my life, and the last time I was actually in a hospital where I had to stay overnight was when I had cellulitis. So that was like the first time, but like I said, I've been petrified and terrified of having surgery, but luckily enough it went okay, and they did it that laparoscopic thing, or when they put those 3 things in your stomach and they do it like, and I don't know if I'll have a picture of the actual gallbladder or not. If I do, I'll put that in here, or at some point I'll put maybe at the end of the video as like a warning or something. If you don't want to see it, don't look at the end part. Well, if I have that. But like I said, I'm going to show a little bit of stuff around the room and the stuff while I'm here, and then try and go to a store or two, as the best I can, because I'm going to be kind of waddling around in pain for the next, probably week or two. But finally, though, I'll be able to not worry though about, as the fat and all that kind of stuff, when I'm going out. I'm still going to be eating the same kind of stuff, but it's not going to be as, like I'm playing Russian roulette with it when I eat, if it's going to be a gallbladder attack or not. Now, I can't show everything on the board over there because it has like personal information stuff, but, what's kind of interesting is the sound for this TV right that's up there. The sound actually comes out of this remote, so it's like, there's like no speakers in the room. This is like the main speaker, and then it has all this stuff like to call if you need something, and then you can like turn the lights out from this thing. So it's all this kind of stuff on here. But like I said, I can't show everything in the room because it's got a lot of stuff up on the board there. And then I have over here, like, since I'm not allowed to eat anything like solid right now, I have like Italian ice and like juice, and they had this one thing earlier which was like a vegetable broth thing, which was like, it was just like broth of like vegetables, and that was it, and then like a tea thing there. And then you wear these things here that like kind of pump up for like the, everyone who has a surgery has to put these things on. They like fill up with air so you don't have like, to prevent blood clots and stuff like that. But I have to be super careful here because I move my arm the wrong way, and that machine up there, it starts beeping and beeping and beeping, and then it won't stop. Then they have to come in here and fix it. So I have to like really keep it like just like this and not bend it or anything. Well, here I am now poping around a little bit. Pope around the hospital. It's like 10 something at night now. But they said, you do want to do a lot of walking around and stuff when you're in. As you can see, my feet are so giant, they don't even fit these socks. They're like kind of falling out of them. I'm in, I guess. Well, I'm now out of the hospital, and I'm at Best Buy, and like it was kind of scary after I had this thing removed. I had like a thing here, like where that IV was, and when they pulled it out, it was just like in National Lampoon's European Vacation when, and the one guy got his wrist cut and it was spurting blood. It's like spurted blood. Oh, it was bad. I mean, I get really faint when that thing happens, but luckily enough I didn't pass out, but I had to hold this thing on it, and it really, really creeped me out. But there was one thing that I wanted to get today, this one movie, so hopefully they have it in here. I'm probably going to go to Target's right over here, and Walmart's like over that way, so they're all right in this vicinity. I know like it's not like I'm not going as many places. I'm gonna have, like I said, some reviews at the end of this video as well, but I still wanted to go to the spots, like I normally do, so we'll see if they have the one thing in here. Into Best Buy we go. Well, they're playing a lot of music in here, but the one thing they have in here, which is like only a Best Buy thing in here, of Pinocchio with this like exclusive lenticular cover in here. And they have, you know, Medea on the Run, which is the Medea play, Boo Medea's Halloween. But the one that I'm gonna get though is Masterminds. You know, this is from the director of Napoleon Dynamite. Like, really like this movie. I know like it had some kind of mixed opinions, but to me, I thought this was like a really funny movie. I think this one was today as well. This Queen of Kate, and my hands are like real dry from, you know, in the hospital because I was washing my hands a whole lot because I'm always afraid of the germs in there. It's like super dry hands, but yeah, like, I'm definitely gonna get this one though. And they also have in here Jack, you know, Jack Reacher, you know, this one that it has the exclusive Steelbook one of this one, you know, only at, you know, Best Buy one. I believe that was today. Into Target we go. And I'm like walking around everywhere like haystacks Calhoun. I have to hold my pants like this because I can't pull the pants up too far with the belt or it lays over where those incisions are. And it's like bad, so I have to like hold these, you know what I mean? So it's like a total pain right now. And because I cannot have these over the pants at all, so I have to continuously hold them like that. And they have over here Masterminds that I just got in Best Buy, but it's $22.99 over here. And they have, you know, Jack Reacher here. I think the 4K, unless that's in the wrong spot. That's probably the wrong spot. It says $19.99 for the 4K. Like I said, then they have Medea on the Run, which was the play, which is actually pretty good. This is actually the first Medea play I've actually seen. I've only ever really seen the movies. And I think they only have the DVD of, you know, Boo Medea Halloween, but that I actually really like that. You know, Fuzi from YouTube he acts in this as well, and I believe these ones were today as well. This show Ballers, the complete second season, and then this series Victoria, I believe that one was today as well. Well, I've switched the pants. I went in there and bought these pants. These are like sort of like looser ones because the other ones I couldn't even pull them up and I have to keep holding them. I felt like haystacks Calhoun or something like that. Like, I don't know, wasn't good. Into Walmart we go. And, you know, sorry guys, this isn't like a real monumental, like, you know, DVD shop video. Like, I didn't really go to any thrift stores or any, like, a lot of the spots. It was just kind of me going to, like, the main 3 spots today. That was it. And, you know, they have Masterminds in here for $19.96, and, you know, and Pinocchio, Medea and the Run. Like I said, my hands are really terrible now. They're, like, really messed up. And, you know, they have Jack Reacher here, you know, the 4K one for $25.96. I don't see any other additions, though. This whole area, though, like, I feel like all the spots in this area are kind of weird. Like, in this Walmart, they're kind of, like, selling stuff in, like, AT&T and, like, DirecTV, like, right in front of the movies. Like, right over there, there's people, like, selling stuff. And then, like, at the and they also, all these locations play lots of music, I've noticed too. But other than that though, I don't really think there was too many other things that came out today. And like I said, you know, sorry this wasn't a real monumental big video. Hopefully, you know, next week or so I'll be a little bit better and can go out more spots and stuff, because right now I can't even really drive. I'm just kind of being driven around because I'm not supposed to drive or anything right now. Well, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shop video today. Like I said, sorry it's not a real monumental video. Just went to the main spot today, and you know, hopefully by, like I said, by next week I'll be able to do more of a video, and I'll be able to drive and stuff. You know, hopefully, as long as everything heals up well, because like all these incisions, and it was the gallbladder done laparoscopic, or however you say it. But now stay tuned for some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. The first one I got from Sony is a movie called Nerdland. It's got a whole bunch of voice actors in it. It's got Paul Rudd, Patton Oswalt, you know, Hannibal, Mike Judd. Tons of people, and it's a really weird animated film. It's kind of got the vibe, because the animator out on this actually worked on years ago on Liquid Television from MTV. You know, that had like the grunt and the head and all those kind of things. It's definitely got that kind of vibe. It's about these two friends, and they're desperate to try and like become celebrities, and they're kind of like trying to figure out exactly how they're going to do it, and they're not having any luck in their life. Like, one of them wants to be an actor, one of them wants to be a writer, and they're trying to figure out exactly how they're going to become famous. And they kind of come up with the idea they want to become infamous. So they come up with all these kind of schemes about how they're going to, like, you know, make a viral video, or they're going to make it like they gave this homeless man all this money. They're kind of just always trying to scheme things up. It's got that really weird, like I said, that animation style of the early MTV, like the grunt and those kind of vibes of this. I thought it was actually pretty cool, like really odd, out there kind of animated stuff on this one. And like I said, a whole bunch of, you know, voice cameos as well pop up in this one. Like, even Chris Gore has a voice in this. Tons and tons of different people. But if you want to see like a really weird, out there animated movie, definitely check this one out. The next one here from Sony as well is a movie called Burn Country. And this is a movie that has Melissa Leo in it, James Franco. It's basically about this guy who has come
he's a journalist who was from, I think he was from, yeah, he's from Afghanistan, and something happened where he was in Afghanistan and he had to leave, and he ends up going and staying with Melissa Leo, who was the mother of one of his friends that he worked with, doing newspaper pieces and things like that in Afghanistan. He goes and stays with her, and he's there in this really small town, and he doesn't really know what he's going to do there, and he really wants to do what he's done, which is a lot of news journalism and things like that. But the small town that he goes there to work for the newspaper, and the paper is like this real kind of dive paper, and they don't really have a whole lot going on, and they're like, well, we can give you like $50 to write like a thing on like the police blurbs about like police situations and police things that have happened, and like sort of like the crime kind of stuff. And he comes up with the idea that he wants to go around with Melissa Leo, who's a cop in the town, and kind of follow her around and kind of write up on the police and stuff like that. But she doesn't want to like allow that, so he goes around and kind of starts interviewing people in the town. And he starts talking with James Franco, and James Franco's character is really up to some really weird business. But it's basically about a guy, though, like really trying to find out anything he can about this town, and going and talking to all the weird people in the town, and kind of like starts to discover some pretty weird things in it. It was actually a pretty cool movie, though. The next one here from this is from Lionsgate, and this is a History Channel double feature one. This has two different documentaries on here, on two different subjects. It has Frankenstein, the real story, and the real Wolfman. And it's the one that's the Frankenstein one has stuff from 2000 and 1995 to 2008. So really, really early History Channel stuff in the very beginning. Like I think I remembered seeing some of that stuff when I was a kid. Some of the really early stuff. This is basically though both of these are documentaries, and the Frankenstein one has I think three different ones, and then the Wolfman has one like a 90-minute one. It's basically about the real history of Frankenstein, talking about how Mary Shelley, who wrote the Frankenstein story, and kind of the different origins of it, and then also kind of talking about some real type similarity things that had happened in the past, and they're just like three different documentaries, and a lot of them on the same subject matter about how she created the story, and how I think she was 18 years old, and it's just basically three different stories on that. And then the Wolfman one is the real Wolfman, talking about how there was actually like these people that were getting killed in the past by like a wolf-like creature, and it's kind of talking about the real origins of the Wolfman story. Pretty interesting ones. Like I said, these are really early History Channel ones, and these are both packaged together. And it's two different, two discs in this set here of this one. The next one here, and this is the complete season, because I think it's Power Rangers, Dino Charge, and I think it's Super Dino Charge was the second season, series of this show, because they usually only have for each, rendition of Power Rangers is usually, as far as I know, there's two seasons of it, and then like the first one, and then it becomes like the super version, like Super Mega Charge and things like that. This one though is Saban's Power Rangers Dino Charge. This is the complete season. This is like the newest series of Power Rangers, but this is the one right before the one when it becomes Super. And this one is about basically the Power Rangers. And this one, they kind of get their powers from the dinosaur. It's like from like these crystals. And it's like these alien type creatures who are kind of coming and trying to get the crystals for themselves. I actually think the thing with me with the Power Rangers, I always think they're always kind of fun to watch, because they just have like a really like, they remind me of like when I was a kid watching the original Power Rangers. And it's just kind of cool because they always have like real old school kind of creatures and monsters and stuff like that. And that's the thing I always like about these. And this is, like I said, is the newest of this one, and this has, the complete series together, because these have been released before. I believe most of them have, but in, single edition sets. But this one now has, this whole version of them all together in one set like this. And the next one here, this is a very fun series. And this is, this is Shaun the Sheep. This has, season 3 and 4. This has 6 full hours of this one. This is the complete third and fourth season. And this is, from the company that did Wallace and Gromit. And it's basically, though, about these sheep that are on, if you guys have never seen it, these sheep that are on this farm, and they're all getting up to mischief, and they're kind of doing weird things when they're like the people, like their owners and stuff like that, are like sleeping and messing around with things on the farm. And they definitely have like that same kind of Wallace and Gromit kind of feel, that real over the top, just kind of crazy. And it's all done, I'm pretty sure it's all done through like stop motion animation. I don't know if it, that kind of clay type animation. I always really like these ones. They're from the BBC, the British animated series. I don't know. I've always really liked these. I really liked although I think they were behind too, like the chicken one, I think Chicken Little, I think that might have been, I don't know if that was them. There was another one on like a farm that they were behind, I believe. And then they did one recently as well. I'm blanking on what the names was, but if you guys are a fan of this, this I don't think these were ever together though in a set like this, because like they had like a random like Christmas volume one, but this one, like I said, has seasons 3 and 4 together in the set. The next one here, this is one from Vinegar, so I'm about to cover this one thing up, but it's and I think this one actually was released from in the past, but this is a brand new edition of this. I think it might have come out from like Scorpion releasing or something. I might be wrong about that, but this is from Vinegar Syndrome. This is Don't Answer the Phone, and this is basically about this really weird guy who's driving around, and I can't remember. Yeah, this was all in the LA, in Los Angeles, and it's this guy who calls into this radio show, and he's like the killer who's going around killing all these women, and he kind of calls in and like toys and pranks with the woman who's like the head of this radio show. And he's kind of saying all these weird things, doing all these weird creepy type voices, kind of like Black Christmas, like those really weird phone calls coming in, and it's basically just this guy going around the city killing these women, these like elaborate scenes of him killing them with like these women with like really cool like crazy synth music, and like I don't know, it was like definitely before Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, and like an early one of these kind of slasher going around the city with this really creepy weird guy. And Vinegar Syndrome though does an amazing job cleaning up these movies. It has on here though a brand new 4K scan of the original 35mm negative of this one, so it looks absolutely amazing. Vinegar Syndrome is probably one of the top when it comes to these remastered editions of things. It has on here though a commentary track on here with the producer and the director on here, video interview with the star of this one, and then a retrospective on Nicholas Worth. It has on here isolated soundtrack by the composer. So tons of new features on here, TV spots, but really really cool if you guys have never seen this one. And the next one from Paramount is a brand new collection. This is all them repackaged in a brand new set of Mike Judd's Beavis and Butthead, the complete collection. And this is all of the Beavis and Buttheads that have been released, volume 1 through 4, which is like the latest season when they brought the show back. And I actually really, really loved the show when they brought it back. But what's cool is this also includes Beavis and Butthead Do America as well, the movie, the Beavis and Butthead movie. But, if you guys don't know Beavis and Butthead, it's basically about these two slacker-type friends. So basically, it's just them messing around, going out and, like, going to the mall, going and getting nachos and doing really weird stuff, going to concerts. And it's basically just them getting into mischief and all kinds of problems and issues. And then they watch music videos. This one has some of the music videos on here. Like I said, though, this is just a repackage, though, of the collections that have been released before. But it's cool, though, to have all these together in the set with brand new artwork on this one as well. But like when it comes to like animated TV shows, this is definitely probably one of my top 5 favorite shows. Next to the Simpsons years back. I don't really watch The Simpsons as much now, but when it comes to like ultimate favorite animated, it's probably like The Simpsons, Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. And then, South Park. Those are, like, some of my all-time favorite ones. But like I said, though, this is the collection, though, with all of them together and like this. And this thing here is kind of interesting. I had never actually seen this. And I didn't even know that there was anything like this. Because I know they had the Sabrina the Teenage Witch TV series. But I didn't know they had these movies. They were, like, TV movies that were, like, kind of connected to the show, but then kind of not. This is from Paramount as well, and this is Sabrina Down Under. This is like Sabrina the Teenage Witch going to Australia, and it's has Tara Strong in this, who's mainly known for, being a voice actress. She's also in National Lampoon's Senior Trip, but, she acted in a couple things, in front of the camera acting, but mainly, like I said, is known for, like, doing, like, voice actress, and she's been done voices in so many cartoons. But it's her going to Australia, and it's her, like, and she like meets this likes this guy, and he's like a mermaid, he's a merman, like like in Zoolander. And I don't know, it's just this whole thing of her going to Australia, and then there's some kind of a pollution thing with the water, and she's trying to figure out how to stop that, how to fix that. And it's her liking this mermaid guy, and then Tara Strong's character is a friend. It's just all these weird things. It's got like a real fun cheesy vibe, and like even just like a scene when she becomes like this really cheesy like computer animated type fish, and has like really fun like old school synth. And I think they had one too, when she went to like Rome or something. But like I said, I never knew these existed. The next one here from Twilight Time. This is from the limited edition, limited to 3,000 edition, and I had never seen this one before. This is a Vincent Price movie. This was made like I think it was like right before, or I believe, House of Wax. This is a movie called The Mad Magician. It's basically about Vincent Price, who's a guy who is a magician who like does kind of designs the the magic acts and things like that, and like the props and like the saw blade that would cut through a woman, and the just basically the tricks, and he designs them for other magicians, but he really wants to have his own act, and he's taking some of his latest inventions and designs and going out with them and putting on this show. And the guy who like is the head of his company that he works for ends up taking away his inventions and his acts, and making it so he can't perform them, and he basically though goes crazy, ends up killing the guy. And it's this whole big thing about him killing the guy, and then he like likes to impersonate people because he has like this great ability of impersonating people. So like he impersonates the guy that he kills, who's like the head of him, and it's this whole thing about like early movie too, dealing with fingerprints and them trying to figure out exactly if the people that he's the other magicians are really him, or they really are the magician. He's like really up to no good and up to these real scheming things. It's actually a pretty cool movie. And this also has on here, if you guys have a 3D TV, you can watch this movie in 3D, and it has on here as a feature, which is kind of cool. 2 episodes of the Three Stooges, or two of the shorts, Three Stooges shorts that were the ones that were 3D ones. And it's cool because they're in HD, and I don't think they've ever actually released any of the Three Stooges, shorts. They did some of the movies from Mill Creek, but actually the shorts, in HD. So that's pretty cool to see. But if you guys are a fan of Vincent Price, it's actually a pretty cool one. Like I said, I had never seen that. And this is one, a lot of people were telling me how cool this was. And this is from BBC. This is Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. And this is one I just started watching. And this is basically like, Elijah Wood is a guy who works at this hotel, and he ends up getting himself fired from this job there, and somebody ends up dying in the building that he's in, and the police are kind of looking at him like he's a suspect. And this one guy ends up he kind of reminds me a little bit of like Drop Dead Fred, the way he acts, and he kind of like starts bothering Elijah Wood and following him around, and trying to get them to work together because they're trying to kind of solve exactly who was involved with this murder. And like they're kind of making it like Elijah Wood could have something to do with this, and you really don't know. And Fiona Dorff is in this, Brad Dorff's daughter. She's in there, and it's like you're kind of like all these weird characters kind of coming together. She's going around like killing people that she just kind of who she wants to. It's a very, very quirky, weird show. John Landis' son, who wrote American Ultra and a bunch of different films. He wrote the stories for this, like the scripts for this. It's got that kind of vibe to this, like the American Ultra kind of vibe. It's actually, like I said, a very interesting show. Max Landis, but I actually thought this was actually pretty cool. The next one here is one. From Film Rise. And this is one I really wanted to see. It's from the director, Jamie Babbitt, who directed one of my favorite movies of all time, But I'm a Cheerleader. And this is one I really wanted to see. This has, Natasha Lyonne, Judy Greer, Audrey Plaza in this one. It's called Addicted to Fresno. It's basically about these two sisters, and the casting was great, having Natasha Lyonne and Judy Greer playing sisters, because they really, really do look like sisters, and it I don't know, like it really works for them to play sisters. And Judy Greer's character was like a teacher who ended up getting fired from her school because she was sleeping around with like everyone at the school, like all the teachers and everything. So they had to let her go, and she had to go to like rehab for sex addiction. So she ends up, getting out of rehab and needs to get a job, and ends up working at this hotel with her sister, played by Natasha Lyonne. And the one guy who was like the manager of the hotel was the guy who was in The Ringer, who was like, "You scratched my CD." He plays the manager in this. And it's basically though these sisters, they are trying to deal with working there, and Judy Greer is like has this major sex addiction, and she's like sleeping with people in the hotel. And one thing that ends up happening is she accidentally ends up killing this guy, and he ends up getting killed there. And they have to try and figure out how they're going to hide this body, and it becomes this huge to-do, and they kind of end up getting blackmailed, and it's kind of them trying to figure out how they're going to, and this isn't giving anything away, how they're going to, pay off this blackmail and all these kind of situations they get into. I really like this one. I thought this was actually a really fun movie. Natasha Lyonne plays a character that's, trying to go out with Natasha, Aubrey Plaza's character trying to go out with Natasha Lyonne's character. I don't know. I really, really like this one. I really like Jamie Babbitt's movies. She's also directed The Quiet and a couple other ones as well. This one here is actually a pretty cool, weird Argento movie that he produced. This is from 1-7 Movies, and it's a movie called Wax Mask. And I remember seeing the cover of this one before, but I had never seen this one. It's basically though about this wax museum that they're like in the midst of building, and people like are getting like dying there, and it's like dealing with like the police trying to investigate it. And there's like in the beginning of the movie though, you see this one daughter and her parents getting killed by this guy who has this weird metal hand. And like there's like a really weird wax guy, like guy killer guy. And it's definitely like a remake like that's what they were kind of going for, of House of Wax. It's got that vibe, and like there's this creepy metal hand. And there's like an aspect of it too that really reminds me of like Terminator 2 a little bit. And if you guys have seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. It really has that like Terminator 2 kind of vibe to this movie. It's a very, very weird movie. There's some really, really weird characters in this movie. And it's just kind of like a police investigation of who is involved in killing this one. And it's definitely has that kind of whodunit kind of vibe of exactly who is the killer of this. And they really plant a whole lot of, like I said, odd characters, try and make you wonder, is that who it is? And like, I don't know, and since they say too, wax mask, you're kind of like, well, who's going to be wearing the wax mask? It's just a very, very odd movie, but really like this one a lot though. Next one here too, just let you guys know this one is out. This is the complete, this is from E1, the complete third season of From Dusk Till Dawn. This is the TV series of Dusk Till Dawn. This is kind of like a spin-off of the movie. This is about the two brothers, and it's about, them who are vampire hunters. It's kind of them like dealing with all the kind of vampires they're coming across and all the kind of situations they get into. I've only, like I said, only really watched a couple episodes here and there of this show, but from what I've seen though, it's pretty good. The last season had Demi Lovato was in a couple episodes of the last season. And like I said, I've seen like a couple episodes of each season. It's actually a pretty cool show. It's on, the El Rey network, which is, Robert Rodriguez TV network. And has on here, though, a bunch of features on here. Season 3 catch-up, featurettes, and a number of other featurettes, and the thing on here, like Season 3 wrap-up, Season 3 best kills, as well on this one. And this one here, I was just watching this a couple nights ago in this movie called The Vessel, from Martin, starring Martin Sheen. And this has, two different versions of the movie on here, because they filmed one version of this movie in Spanish and then one in English. And they didn't I was wondering if Martin Sheen was actually going to just speak English in that version, but he actually speaks Spanish in that version. And it's just the whole movie filmed two times, so one version in English, one in Spanish, and it's about this town where they had this school, and this tsunami came and all the kids died in this orphanage. I mean, in this school there, and the whole town is very, very depressed over this that had happened, and none of them really are happy after all of this. And the one thing that happens is one of the guys who's in this town ends up, going out with his friend in this wave, and him and his friend end up dying, and the one friend ends up coming back to life, and it kind of like makes someone look at him like he's like how did he come back to life, and kind of like reevaluating. It's just like one of those movies like making the whole town kind of have something to think about. It was actually a very, very well shot, really pretty interesting movie. And Martin Sheen, plays the priest in this town, but like a really interesting, pretty sad film. The next one here from Intervision, I'm just covering this up just in case anyone says anything, but it's nothing really bad. It's a movie here called Lady Libertine. It also has a movie called Love Circles on here, two movies from the same director. But it's actually a pretty interesting movie, though, about this girl who, because of one reason or another, has to dress like this guy. And you find out in the movie exactly why and what her reasonings for this, because she was kind of trying to hide from something. But she ends up getting taken in by this guy who's a very, very rich guy, and he ends up taking her back to his house and kind of like watching him, and it becomes this really odd thing because he discovers that she's actually, he thinks that it's actually a woman, and he kind of takes it as this weird sort of kinky thing that he knows, but that it's a girl, but he's kind of playing along that it's a guy, but then he's kind of wants to wait for her to say that she's a girl. It's a very weird movie. They aired this on, I think it was like they said like on Cinemax or something like that years ago. It kind of re-aired on that. It was from 1983, and Playboy actually produced this movie. But it's a very like strange type movie. But it was shot so well. The director of this directed like a movie with Anthony Perkins, like this horror movie, like I think Edge of Sanity. So it's got some of these really, really creepy, weird shots and cinematography in this one. But it was just a really odd story about this like sort of love story thing going on. I really liked it. Like I said, it's not gonna be for everybody, but it was definitely a pretty interesting movie. The next one here from Synapse Films, and these are movies I always had heard about, I had never seen before, and these are the corpse. What are the Coffin Joe series is the proper name, and this has on here, the night I'll possess your corpse, and it's at midnight I'll take your soul. At midnight I'll take your soul was the first movie, and the one thing that's kind of cool is one of the features they have on here is they have like the Coffin Joe character like in 2002 going and like redoing the scenes. Like one of the real popular scenes in these, and it's basically though, this Coffin Joe series is about this guy who's like this kind of like he's got these really really long fingernails, and he's like kind of like a guy who works in a graveyard and he digs up bodies and stuff like that, and he's always trying to find like the perfect woman, but he's never really having a lot of luck, and he's always going around just killing women if they're not right, or he thinks it's the right person and it isn't, he's killing them. It's just like this, he's trying to find someone like to have a child with, like to keep his legacy going on. It's just a very very creepy, odd, weird movie. Like I said, these are finally out, and they have on here scans from the 35 millimeters. They actually look really really good. And like I said, the one feature on there is actually kind of fun to see them like that. And like him doing them years later, redoing one of the scenes. And the next one here is from MVD through R Squared, and it's a movie called The Conspiracy Theory. And this is kind of cool. Like a lot of this was shot in Vegas, and it was all these kind of areas that I had been in Vegas. They were showing filming a lot of the casinos, and they showed like some of the Area 51 areas, and it's about a show that's kind of like a spoof of Ancient Aliens, about these guys going out like making a show about aliens and kind of weird things that had happened out in Area 51, and they're going around like the Vegas Strip and kind of talking to people about like their encounters and what they had seen, living close to Area 51. And it's kind of like that, and then it leads up though to them getting this one area, and it's something really weird happening. But like I said, I really liked this because it was really kind of cool to see like all these areas in Vegas that I had been, because they filmed all over the place, in the casinos, at the buffets, and like all these like random people they were talking to. And it was just and it was actually done pretty well at being like a spoof parody of those kind of TV shows. The next one here is from Parade Deck Films. This is from MVD as well. It's a movie called Before I Die. It's a pretty interesting movie, though. It's like a guy who, with his family, that goes to be like the priest in this small town, and like the original priest, who's like I think he's a reverend, or yeah, I think the pastor of the town. He's leaving, and like they're having this big farewell thing for him, and it's one of those things where it's like the town isn't exactly what you think. Like on the outside it really looks like it's like this perfect town, everything is normal, but you kind of know there's something really odd going on. And this guy who comes in, who's like taking over this church, starts to discover there's some really heinous, odd things going on in the town, and everybody's kind of up to no good, and they're not really what you think. Because it's like a lot of those movies too, when they do things where it's like this religious kind of people, and then like behind the scenes, behind closed doors, there's really odd stuff going on. And this is kind of what's going on with this. And it has on here a commentary track and the behind the scenes gallery on this one. And the last one here, and this is from MVD as well, and it's a movie called After. And this is beginning of the movie, you see these two people who are on a bus, and like they're kind of like, the one guy is kind of flirting with this girl, and she really doesn't have any real interest in him. They're kind of talking. He's like, well, we should go out for dinner sometime, and she's like, oh, we'll see. And you hear this like crash, and then like they wake up, and they're both in different places when they wake up, and there's no one else on the whole earth. They don't see anybody. It's like kind of like Last Man on Earth. They're going around trying to figure out exactly, because they kind of discover each other, that they're the only people left, trying to figure out exactly what had happened, and kind of thinking, did they die? What had happened here? Because it's like just them wandering around this earth, and they're trying to figure out exactly what had happened to them. It's like one of those like kind of real creepy, like I said, Last Man on Earth kind of vibe thing about trying to figure out exactly what had happened. But anyway, though, guys, that was all for this video. Like I said, I was sitting down on this one too, so I was sitting down, but I really can't stand up right now after that surgery. So even that, there's probably gonna be an update too this weekend, and I'll probably be sitting down like this as well. But anyway, though, guys, thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.